Hey, what's up guys? Chris here. So I finished machining my my single shot tray. I'll show it to you real quick and then I'll take some shots with it. And then I'm going to show you how to adjust this regulator. And I'll show you my other rigs for the competition. So this is how it came out. So this slides in, it stops right at the end of the barrel. I'll bring it over and show you. And it lines up perfectly with the probe, which is the important thing. Let me bring it down and zoom you in. Okay, so this slides in facing towards the barrel with that on the other side, because all my magazines are left-handed, because I'm right-handed, so I'll be cocking with my right, loading with my left, and this lines up perfectly to the barrel. I'll take a pellet and put it in. You can even actually go like this, put the pellet in before you put it in there, and then just slide it in. Boom, done. Works perfect. So, took some time, but it came out well, it came out worth it. And it's never gonna break because it's not plastic or 3D printed. So obviously that's too much power. I have to be at 20 foot-pounds of energy, and I'm at 960 feet a second, which is 51.6 pounds of energy. Actually, no, that's inaccurate. I have to weigh those pellets because that was for the 25 caliber pellets that I was shooting at just under 700 to keep it at that. But now 2 out of the 3 events are limited to 22 caliber, which kind of sucks, honestly. I mean, as long as you're at the same foot-pounds of energy, I don't see why they had to limit the caliber, but I guess they do. And my videos are not paid for or sponsored by Stud. I'm wearing the shirt because I am shooting for him, and it's because I like the guy and I like the product and I believe in the product. It's nothing more than that. I don't get paid for that. Like he sends me some stuff to try out when he makes it, but I don't accept money from him, and I'm not going to. I'm not like paid by anybody. I'm partial to certain companies because they're good companies. It's just that simple. So that's why I'm partial to Stud, because the owner's an awesome guy and they're a good company and they make good products. I'm gonna grab the gun, and then I'm gonna show you how we take it apart and get to the regulator and take the regulator out to adjust it, which is how you have to do it. So 1 second. And this is one of my custom silencers on it that I am also making for a couple of people. Well, we're gonna leave that on. I'm gonna definitely use that on 1, if not 2 or 3 of my rifles at the competition. So it makes a pop like that, not just a hiss. When you, let me turn you down. When you unscrew the bottle, that was just me unscrewing the bottle. So when you unscrew it, it makes a pop like that. And then you just unthread this the whole way. And then you have to take the gun out of the stock. So that's a 5mm for that. And that's a 5 right here. And then I use a torque screwdriver for this because I'll torque it back in. This is the shot tray. I'll have to do a dry fire to empty the plenum. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a 4mm, I believe. My mistake. The trigger adjustment is a 5. So it's just that one screw that takes the whole block out. But it's actually so sturdy, you wouldn't believe it, because this is not, if I don't believe this is aluminum, I should put a magnet to it, because this feels like, if it's aluminum, it's 70-75, not 60-61. That's some heavy stuff. So now this right here slides right off. There's just O-rings in it. That's with your manometer and your fill port. The fill port has a spring, and a part of it's like a valve. So the spring acts as pressure on the opposite side to make the air stay in and not come back out, and then the pressure of the air obviously assists it. But you don't want to let that spring pop out, because it will. It's right there. So I just take it out upside down. And then we'll place that right here on the mat. Now I'm going to put this in the vise with the vise pads. So I'll turn you back up for a second so you can see my workbench. Alright, I'm going to put it in that vise right there on the end. There you go. So these green things on it are rubber pads, so you don't do any damage to your block. And then where you screwed the bottle into, and where that other piece with the manometer slid off of, that's your regulator. So you unscrew that. You have to break it first. Oh, what am I doing? I gotta dry fire it. I got air in there. There we go. Now we're good. And so don't make that mistake, because if I were to give it enough force to loosen it, even with that air in there, I'm going to blow a seal on my regulator. So now that'll come off nice and easy. Now, I'm going to take this out. I'll put it over here. I'll put it on the chair, actually. So you put your regulator right here, and it still has the bevel washers. There's just a lock nut and a 3mm Allen key in the middle. So the 3mm Allen key, actually, I'll put this stuff up here now. The 3mm Allen key, actually, it stays still, and the lock nut is what gets adjusted, that actually makes the adjustment to the regulator. So according to Rapid Air Weapons, and that's a 10mm. Actually, let me just get a real 10mm. Hold on one second, it's right here. So according to Rapid Air Works, this Rapid Air Weapons, whatever, this gets turned loosened to lower the pressure. It's 11mm? I thought that was a 10. It is not a 10. Let me get an 11 and a 12 just in case. Oh, it's probably standard. That's the other thing that's been a big curve for me, because I have a lot of metric stuff. Almost all metric stuff, very few standard. I have all the standard sockets and everything for working on vehicles, but even my vehicles are American made, and they're metric sockets, metric bolts, metric threads, but not Rapid Air Works. They are standard, mostly, except for this 3mm and the 5mm trigger adjustment. Aside from those two, they are completely, yeah, that's loosening it. They are completely standard, other than those couple of screws for some reason. So it's recommended not to do more than a quarter turn at a time and then check it, but that's the way that you have to do this. Obviously, if anybody else is used to like FX guns and things like that, is so much more difficult and time consuming. It's not difficult, it's just tedious, I should say, to do this rather than just, you know, have a screw to adjust. Even if you have to take the bottle off real quick, you don't have to take any parts off to adjust the regulator. And on the Rapid Air Weapons, you definitely do. Even the Huma regulator for this, you still have to do the same thing, because they have to comply with this setup they have for the manometer, which I have to admit, I don't really like all that much, but I love the gun, and I'll deal with it for that, because the gun is incredibly accurate, And oh, that's the spring. See, you have to remember that spring every time you push it back in, because the spring will try to come out. But also, I want to lubricate these O-rings with some O-ring lube. This super lube that's deliberately made for O-rings is, oops, it's actually called O-ring lube. This is by far the best stuff you can use on O-rings that I've gotten my hands on. And you know, I'm always looking for stuff like that because I do so much of it. I mean, I have an entire small toolbox just with O-rings and O-ring tools. So, and lubricants, obviously, any of that kind of stuff for seals. So obviously I'm always looking for stuff like that because I always need it, because I'm always working on these guns. But that's the best stuff that I've come across. So anybody that uses air guns and repairs or maintains them on their own should definitely have that in their toolbox or workshop or whatever. All right, so that's back on. Actually, I have to put this back in the lower end. So I'm going to get a new stock for this. I like the stock that they have on it, but the gun's very front heavy, and it's because the stock is so light. The stock's incredibly light. I'm looking at a couple of different, but the other beautiful thing is this is completely AR compatible. So like even the stock, that's a stock AR tube. I mean, I can show you one of my ARs and the tube is identical. I mean, you know, you have your 6-point, it's exactly the same. So there's no stock for an AR that won't fit it. So that's a really awesome part. I mean, the grip is typical to be AR compatible. The stock is not typical. All right. And you can also, the hammer you can adjust from outside. I'll show you quickly. You can use a 1.5 or a 2 millimeter Allen, or like a pin or something. There's a bunch of little holes on this cylinder thing in here. Try to show you close enough. Right inside there, these are little holes in here. Where is it? Right here. So in this slot, if you turn it up, you are loosening it. Down is tightening it. So that turns a small bolt in here, which turns the screw at the back of the block, so you don't have to take it out every time. All right, now we'll put the air tank back on, and I'll see how low that got me, because I'm not going to get much lower because there's not much more room to loosen that. So after all that to make a shot tray, I'm probably going to have to make one for the FX Crown and put my 22 caliber barrel on it, unfortunately. All right, so you see that's that simple. It just starts catching the air, and here's the shot tray going right in. Boom, single shot, locks right in. Oh, almost perfect. Just got to slide it a little bit, but there we go. Almost perfect. So if I were to make another one of these, I would be able to make it absolutely perfect, like as if it were store-bought and mass-produced, and I could powder coat it, because I think powder coating is way better than anodizing. That's what I did to the silencer, and that silencer won't get scuffed up like an anodized one would. Anodization does not. I mean, it's just really pigment being made to adhere to the aluminum with electricity going through the water that you're putting the pigment in with the thing that you're anodizing. It's not as effective as powder coating. Powder coating gets it to stick electrically, and then you bake it on. So it definitely stays on better. I actually like that you can take it out and then load the pellet in it, and that's not flush. There you go. And you can load the pellet in it and then slide it back in, because I think it's actually better that way. And I did that by accident. Is this thing shooting faster? I don't know, the chronograph's not on it, but it sounded fast. Let's find out. I'm gonna actually use a magazine so I don't have to keep loading, because that's only for one event that I made that. Let's see. Those are FX, FX, FX. Okay, these are both full. The trigger on this is unparalleled, for sure, no question about it. This is a better trigger than any of the FX guns. This is the best trigger on an air gun I've felt yet, out of Daystate, out of FX. I haven't had an Air Arms. That's probably next on my list. I do have an Ed gun. I have most of the... 19. It's lower, but not much. I have most of the high-end guns, at least one of them, and this is by far the best trigger I've ever felt on an air gun, for sure. Like, literally no question in my mind. I think with the hammer spring down a lot, it might actually give me less velocity if I raised up the regulator, because the hammer will have to hit it harder, and with the hammer down a lot, I think it might actually take my velocity down.
912.
I took it down a little bit. I mean, it's only really supposed to take it down a little bit, but I'm not getting low enough. I need to get down to 800 feet per second. Oh, am I tightening it? Sometimes it's hard to find these little holes where you need to stick this in to get it to turn. Feels like I'm loosening it. Oh yeah, I definitely am.
909.
Still 909.2. Like, this is a true match grade trigger. This is so easy. It's like almost too easy. I may actually have to turn it to where it's a little harder.
909.
Same damn speed.
0.2.
I mean, it's an unbelievably consistent gun, and I usually would never be shooting anything this light, so I mean, I had this doing about 800 feet a second with 40 grain or 38 grain. No, I used 38s.
900.
It's going up with less hammer. Okay, we're going the other way.
2.
And I know this is tightening it because when I was going the other way, I can feel the cocking lever getting more tension. I mean, less tension. By turning it the opposite direction, it was getting less tension in it. Maybe if I turn it high enough, it'll be too much, and it'll just open and shut the valve quicker. I don't think I'm getting this down that far. I'm checking my cameras because I have an Amazon delivery with my GoPro that I'm eager to get so I can do these videos on it and use it for my side shot if I can get a case for it. Because Sideshot is selling the GoPro Hero 11 with the case for $1,100, which is kind of crazy because I just got the GoPro Hero 11 as well as not only the Hero 11, I got the media mount.
93.
Oh, see, it's reading speeds and I didn't even shoot. There's something up with this. This is why I like the real chronograph better. Put it on 20%. And then projectile, this is actually not 25.18 grains. That was the 25 caliber. I'm gonna weigh one of these really quick. Excuse me 1 second. What is that set to? These are 21, I erased it, 21.68. Okay. Oh, it's got to be a different weight or it wouldn't have brought me to that screen. And honestly, since I've been using pellets in the impact, because I'm going to use that for the other event, and that's down to 20 foot-pounds of energy, right around there, and it is shooting so accurately, I'm literally going with an entire magazine through one hole. I'm going to show that to you guys. But this, I mean, that's got my zero compromise scope on it, so inevitably I had to use it on some event or I was going to switch the scope. But my bench rest gun has the Zeiss LRP S5 that just came out. And then I literally just bought this for my Ed gun and I put it on the crown because I was going to use this. This is down to 20 foot-pounds and 25, but I can't use 25. But this is a Viper PST, I mean a Vortex Viper PST, but this is a 2-to-10. So you get such a wide angle on this scope. It's almost as good as a 1-to-6, but 2-to-10 gives you a little bit more zoom, and that's almost all the way zoomed in. Oh my! It's like you can see it almost as wide as with your eyes. It's awesome. So for the Ed gun, because that's like a truck gun, but it's like a high-end truck gun, and I turned it into a high-end truck gun that's more powerful than my Pantera. I'm shooting 25 caliber 45 grain slugs at almost 1100 feet a second. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I turned it down since then for more accuracy, but I'm still getting like 9 change, or high 8s, low 9s. So it's pretty impressive for a semi-automatic, and it's quick to reload even. So, you shoot your 8 shots, and even when you have to reload, it's very quick.
930.
It's definitely a badass gun, that Lishi too. So I got to fiddle with this a little more, see if I can get the power down enough to be able to use it for 20 foot-pound. But in the meantime, so I'll show you guys my bench gun. This is my Crown. And this has a 700 millimeter 30 caliber barrel on it. That's just a traditional Impulse, the larger one. I didn't put any of my own scope on this gun, but I may actually use that scope on this gun for the competition, because that scope is, I mean, not the scope, the silencer is very effective. But honestly, I don't really care if it's loud there anyways. This is not very loud. The Impulse is the only store-bought one that did close to as good as that, because I mean, no airgun manufacturer, airgun suppressor manufacturer is machining baffles into solid aluminum in a silencer. They just don't. But that's what I'm doing. So, and I'm making them for a couple of guys. I'm trading stuff with one guy, another guy, I'm just trying to help him out, and but. So if you guys need help, you can let me know if you need help with getting your hands on a good silencer, a good effective silencer. Because I need them to be good and effective, because I own property in a city where you're right next to neighbors. And those neighbors want to call the cops when you're shooting squirrels in your backyard, even though it's on your property, that's next to your property, that's next to their property on the other side. They think they have a right to tell you what to do. So anyways, it is what it is. You got to comply with the law enforcement, so got to do what I got to do. But I just made really effective silencers. So I'm going to take you guys downrange. I'm going to leave the camera just because the side shot is a pain in the neck to set up, and it's not set up right now. But this way you can see up close and personal what's going on. The Tacticam, I have to mix the video afterwards, so I'm probably going to sell that. That's why I got the GoPro coming, because I'm going to use that and attach it to the scope. So what I'm going to do is, I'll put you over here. So I'm going to go for one of these target cards, like I'm going to do at the bench, on the bench rest, and then I'll go with the impact, and I'll shoot those paintballs that are on top of the of the small targets, and then I'll shoot the small targets. I'll try not to hit any of them when I'm going for the paintballs. There's bigger paintballs on there that are much easier to hit. These other smaller paintballs, they're 40 caliber, and they are extremely challenging to hit. Compared to the larger ones, you can hit fairly easy. I mean, it's 50 yards. It's not a crazy distance, and plus, everybody that leaves comments and says how lucky I am to have an indoor space to shoot, and they're right, and I'm grateful, but it takes away the wind factor, which makes it like this. All the competitions are a challenge for me because I'm so used to shooting slugs. Because when I'm shooting, it's either for enjoyment or it's for pest elimination. And when I'm shooting squirrels or whatever, I'm definitely using slugs, the heaviest I can, that are going to shoot at a velocity that's going to ethically make any kill. So when I switch to pellets, and then I'm used to practicing with no wind, and there's wind, which is what I do go practice at 100 yards with plenty of wind. But not as often as I practice here. So yes, I can practice all day, any free time I have, which everybody that says that to me, I say, so can you. You can come join me anytime you want. But the problem is that you don't have any wind here. I thought about putting one of my air movers on and trying to shoot with that. I might actually do it. Anyways, I'm gonna shoot one magazine, or I mean one card, and then I'll show you the impact. I always forget you guys are coming with me with my voice. Okay. So this crown takes a couple of shots before it gets up to full velocity. It actually is set around 890, 900 or something like that feet per second. You'll probably hear it. The damn light, motion sensor. So you'll probably hear it announcing the velocities, I'm sure. I'm gonna put the chronograph on it. But the first couple shots won't be on, but I don't adjust the scope for it because it gets up to velocity. I don't know why it does that. It takes a couple shots to get up to velocity, but it does it every time, and every time I've adjusted for it, I've had to adjust right back. So I'm not going to adjust for it. I'm just going to let it do its thing. All right, I'm just going to air it up. I don't even think it's low, but just in case. I've got 300 bar tanks on all these guns. Let's see. I need the chronograph while this is filling up. I can put that on, and I'll be shooting in 1 minute or less. All right. That should be good for the air. And here we go. Okay. First shot is going to be at the center target just because I'm going to sight in. I'm going to shoot for an empty box that doesn't have any holes in it and see how far off I am. The right side nearest to the IBS target. See, 745. Now watch. No adjustments. 881 in one shot.
4. 916.
And 916.
4. 900. 939.
See, it's like after a couple of shots, it gets right up to speed. I don't know why that is, but it stays up to speed after that. Until you stop firing it for a while.
39.2.
All right, there we go.
37.
All right, I'm going for the IBS card, starting at the top left.
939.0. 875. 36.8. 877.
Guys, I'm sorry. This freaking 30-minute thing is driving me so out of my mind. I mean, I literally spent the money on a GoPro just because of that. Well, also because I wanted a good screen camera, and I thought I could use this camera. I just have to make some shorter videos on this camera, or I have to use the GoPro as the main camera to take the video. Because I'm checking on Amazon right now. It's actually supposed to be here tonight between 5 and 8. It's out for delivery, so it's already 6, so it should be here soon. Anyways, I finished off that card. I'm gonna score it real quick. I literally just got the camera and looked at how much footage was not there, but this is my FX barrel that I'm gonna probably change to 22 also. But so let me score this card. They use a 35 caliber projectile, or a probe that's like a projectile, so I'm gonna use a 35 caliber slug. And I mean, pretty much a lot of them I can see are 10s right off the bat. That's a 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and this is 50 yards, but it's a 50-yard target card. So they're going to be a lot bigger targets at 100 yards that they use. I think they're like almost 6 inches, 5 and change. How many? No, I think my best one was 247. I had a couple of 247s, but I haven't gotten higher than that. And I was pissed too because I got another 247 and then I hadn't gotten a 250. I've been trying for a 250, but it just hasn't happened. Because there's always some kind of fluctuation that doesn't give it to you. And it's easier to get a 10 or a higher number than where you were because they score inward. So let me turn this screen where I can see what I'm showing you, so I make sure I'm not aiming the camera where you can see. So here's the card. Those are the scores. Those are the holes. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 9. So it's a 246. 246. But obviously I've been doing quite a bit of practicing. I'll show you what I mean. I mean, a lot of them I've just thrown away, but the ones that I scored are not even all here, but a lot of them are here. 246, 233, 242, 243, 240, 222, that was a little while ago. 236, 228, 227, 232. Yeah, those are older ones. 244, 240, 239. I don't think I've had much under a 230 or 240, and especially not in the last couple of weeks. I haven't had much less than a 240. And then this is a 247 over here on the door, because that's the culmination of a lot of practice and a lot of time behind the gun, behind the scope. So I'm going to show you the impact, because I was going to do that in the last video and I ran out of time. I'm going to, well, here, I'll show it to you. I think I've used it before in more than a couple of videos, but I'll just show it to you guys real quick. And so this, I got the 700 millimeter 30 caliber. I put the barrel band, which has been an awesome addition because that holds that barrel in place. Like I used it outside a couple times, and you know, hunting with it, and that was an awesome addition, because you know, you bump into something or whatever with this long barrel. And then this has got the Zeiss LRPS5 on it. Oh, sorry, you guys are hipped. Sorry about that. This is the barrel band. And then obviously my bench bipod, the Zeiss LRPS5. This is like 2.5 times the price of a Theos. So the Titans are not really, or even the Theos is not really a grade A scope. I know they advertise them that way and they have people believing that, but I've had one and that's the reason I still don't have it, because they are not all they're cracked up to be. So zero compromise, like on the Impact, on the other hand, the Zeiss and this are surprisingly close. I was pretty astonished when I first shot the Zeiss, because I had the zero compromise already and I didn't think it was going to be that close, but it's pretty damn close. And honestly, that PST, the Viper or the Vortex Viper PST, that is an incredibly clear scope. It's surprisingly close to these two. It's astonishing, actually. And the Burris XTR3 is also still one of my favorites, and the Bushnell Elite Tactical DMR3. Those are all great scopes, and I would recommend any one of them for different purposes. The Bushnell Elite Tactical DMR3 is incredibly accurate and great glass, but it's also got a very wide field of view. Not as wide as the Vortex, the 2-10, obviously, but it's a 3.5 to 21. The zero compromise is a 4 to 20, but it is the most clear scope from edge to edge. As far as you want to use it, I have never had any imperfection in the picture whatsoever. It's a phenomenal scope, and I've even tried the only really the only scope that's considered to even be close to this is the Tangent Theta, and I don't think it is close to this. I think this smokes it, really. Honestly, I think the Zeiss is better. So if any of you guys are considering one of the top tier scopes, consider one of these two over the Tangent Theta, because the Tangent Theta is the most expensive. It's $5,200, and I paid like just over $4,000 was the sticker for the zero compromise. My fiance being a nurse, I got a first responder discount, so I got like 20% off. So that was pretty good. I saved like $800. And then the Zeiss was the same thing. I got that was 38 sticker, and then I got it for you know, another 380 times almost 800, 760 bucks less. So I did pretty good on both of them, which was a blessing. But that's my fiance deals with a lot of shit to be a first responder. She worked in the ICU through COVID, so God bless her, and she looks out for me because of it, or because she has access to. So I'm going to try this is my wide angle lens. I'm probably gonna do the next one with a more zoom lens. This is a 10 to 18. I have an 18 to 200 that would get a good view on this, but anyways, I'm sure you'll see the paintballs disappear. On the left hand side, they're all the fatter blue ones. On the right hand side, they're orange, red, blue, and they're half the size almost. So I'm gonna be shooting for those. And first, before I even start those, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot a group. I'm gonna shoot a group of, I don't know, 10, 20, something like that. In where am I gonna do it? You know what, I'll do it in the target at the bottom, in the bullet box, at the top of it where there's no holes. So you guys can see just how many of these pellets will go in the same spot. All right. And bear in mind, I have this Impact tuned down from, I had it up to 1,050 feet per second with 41.5 grain, you know, slugs that I pressed, and that was with extreme accuracy, as good or better than what I'm going to show you right now. So it broke my heart to adjust that, but I did for the sake of the competition. And I'm also only using the bipod. I am at a table, but I'm only using the bipod because you can only use a 1-point rest, so front or back or whatever. So I'm using just the bipod on the front, and let's get started. And you can also only go to 16 times zoom, so I don't usually need to go past that anyways with this scope. All right, ready?
803.31.0.
Oh,
800.
that was fun. Okay, I'm gonna go for the bottom of the top target, right in one of those boxes.
800. 7. 31. 4. 800. 14. 31.9. 800. 19. 32. 3. 800. 32. 798. 7. 800. 21. 32. 5.
I have to adjust the weight because it's actually, these are 22. These are 14.3 grain. So let me change that on here because it's not giving accurate.
800.
It's not giving accurate. It's at 21.68 grain. So these are 14.
31.3. 9.
Okay, back to home. Does it have to reconnect for that? No, I guess not. It should give the accurate foot-pounds of energy now because it's right around 20.
5. 20.
Yep.
6.
See, it's pointless to even shoot it anymore because you're not gonna even see what I hit. It's just gonna be the same hole. So I'm gonna go for the bigger paintballs on the left, starting farthest left.
800.
Shit.
3.
This is off my shoulder, don't forget. I'm not using anything but the front rest.
800.
Got it.
14. 21.1. 800. 17.
Shit.
21. 2. 800. 17. 20. 2. 800. 20. 3. 800. 17. 21. 2. 800. 19. 21.3. 800. 14. 21.1.
Shit.
800. 7. 20. 7.
What the fuck? I'm going a little left.
21.1. 800. 17.
Gotcha.
21.
All right, good thing I found that out before I shoot for the small ones because these are a bitch.
17. 21. 800. 12.
New mic.
9. 700. 96. 20.1. 800. 21. 21.4.
Gotcha.
26. 21. 7.
See, shooting it off your shoulder takes a lot more stability and a lot more patience.
1. 817. 21.2. 791. 19.
I'll tell you one thing though, when I was shooting these with my slugs and my high power settings, I was not missing more than once. There we go. Take my time.
817.
use the breathing techniques they taught me in the Junior Marines.
7, 817, 21.
Which, it's the Junior Marines, but there's not a whole lot junior about it. They actually are like prepping you for Paris Island. And they trained me how to long range shoot on a 50 cal Barrett.
791, 19. Point.
There we go.
5, 20. Point. 6, 805, 20. Point.
I got the target on that one. That's the first one I did that.
19.
Okay, now I'm gonna just go for all the targets. I'm gonna go for, you know what? I'm gonna go for the little tiny chicken first. All right, let's try him. Bye-bye.
91.
And then I'm gonna go for the ram next to him.
700.
Oh, how the fuck did I miss that? I was aiming too high. That was on me. That's the shoulder thing, not having a backrest, holding it, which I do shoot this way a lot because of hunting outside. I don't always bring a tripod with me, but I have my times where I miss like this because of that outside, and there's a squirrel running off. But usually when that happens, I make sure I get a second shot at him, which is why I love the Ed Gun Leashy too. Because I got 8 shots at him every single time.
6, 700.
Back to back, as fast as I can pull the trigger.
6, 700. 20. 1.
And it's much smaller, much lighter,
3.
much easier to work with.
91.
Or to shoulder and then shoot off your shoulder.
800. 7. 20. 7. 700. 89. 19. 8. 800. 20. 5. 700.
Alrighty.
20. 0.
So that's just shooting some targets, some small targets. They're saying that some of these things are going to be down to 3/8 of an inch. So guess what? Those paintballs are smaller than that. The small ones are smaller than that. So, oh shit, there's one on this end. I can't even see that from down there. I don't know if you guys noticed on my way over here, but I took 3 of the 4 shelves down that were here. There was 3 more shelves just like that, full of crap. I got rid of all of them. And that one is next. All that lumber has to get put away. The clapboard and the 2x and all the metal and the trim. I got to put all that stuff away, and the Roxel too. And once I do, that shelf's coming down too, and then this whole area will be open, and I'll have a much more open view down there. All right, but anyways, that's it for today, guys. I gotta get back to it. All right. Hopefully you guys are having a good weekend or had a good weekend. It's just about over, which is why it's reminding me I gotta get cramming to get all my stuff packed and all my guns ready and all that kind of shit. So I gotta get to it. But this is Chris signing off, and I hope everybody has a good weekend, and I'll let you know how the Pyramid Cup goes later.